Welcome back. This is the third video in this four-part series of sex, money, and power, the three lords of manhood. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the second law that we need to step into our own manhood to achieve more sex, money, and power. And by the way, guys, as I said before, this is not just about sex, money, and power. If you step into these three laws, you will achieve significant more than just sex, money, and power. And before I go on, I would really like to celebrate you on your commitment. Most of the boys that would have watched this series probably got up to the first 15 minutes of the first video and given up on their progress. But a few men, a few great men who are now ready to be the change that's going to last. These men like yourself. And this is why I made this series, for men like yourself. Men who are able to control their time and focus on what's really important to them. Look, I don't know your particular story, and I really hope that one day that you and I can meet. But we both know something about you. Brother, you are ready for the next level of your manhood evolution. You are ready to take a stand for all men that are out there. You are ready to address that dark past that we all have and to really create a compelling future that we can wake up and look forward to be that better father that you know in your heart that you can be, to call forth the goddess in your life, or to honor and celebrate the goddess that's already in your life. And this is what the second law is all about. You, my man, are ready to lead. So let's jump into this second law. This second law, and initially I would like it to call it the king, just so that we can understand what this second law is all about. What is the difference between an everyday boy / man, and what's the difference between a king? Now, a king is someone who knows who he is. He knows his purpose and is focused on serving his kingdom. So the real question here is, are you the king of your kingdom, or are you the tyrant? See, when you're focusing on who you are, what your purpose is, and why you exist, what you end up doing is leaving a legacy that will outlive you. A legacy that makes an average man a legend. For an example, King Arthur. Now, we don't know if he's a myth or a legacy, but his legacy is so grand that we are still unsure that if it's possible for this man to even exist. We don't even know for sure if this is true. But either way, there are tales that are being told about the type of man King Arthur was. You know, a more modern example are kings like Tony Robbins, who really, if it wasn't for him, people like myself wouldn't be here. Gandhi, Nelson Mandela. Now, these are just a few list of kings, and the list goes on. But the real question is, are you the king of your kingdom, or are you a tyrant? See, a tyrant is also well known, but he's known for his cruelty and is remembered for that. And that too becomes a form of his legacy as well, but not for the reasons that we want. See, we look at tyrants through the eyes of disgust and hate. An example of this may be Hitler. If you're anything like me, you've probably watched the Game of Thrones. And if you watch the Game of Thrones, you probably know this man, this boy, this man child that you're seeing here on your screen. And for those of you that don't know, this is Joffrey. He was one of the kings in the Game of Thrones, and he is by far, in my personal opinion, and I'm pretty sure in many other opinions, that he is the worst villain in the Game of Thrones. He is the saddest, who disguises his cruelty with his charm, a narcissist in some sort. See, he enjoys forcing people to fight to the death. He enforces really cruel punishments that does not meet the crime. He has no sense of personal responsibility. He blames other people for his failures, and he lacks a level of self-control, and often insults his allies and his own family members, people that are working for him for the betterment of himself and the kingdom. See, Joffrey is an intelligent man, but he's cunning. He's also very impulsive, which both the cunningness, the intelligence, and the impulsiveness is what leads him to make irrational decisions. See, he appears, if you watch the Game of Thrones, you would know that he appears that he has no real interest in being a supreme leader or being there for his kingdom, but his interest lies with extreme violence, paying no attention to his responsibilities to govern his kingdom. Many of you may not know this, but Joffrey was actually inspired by a real life Prince of Wales. His name was Edward of Lancaster, and he existed around the 1400s, and he was the real son of the real Mad King, Henry IV. But coming back to the tyrant aspect, a tyrant is not really a man, but he has a power of a man, but the mind of a child. So the tyrant is a really good example of what we're going to be working here on the second law. Are you a king or are you a tyrant? And whichever one that you have been up to this date, it doesn't really matter. It can be forgiven and it can be processed. A tyrant is someone that is purely focused on impulse decisions. And so this second law, what we're really talking about here, the difference between a tyrant and a king is discipline. See, discipline is your ability to create a structure that works for you. And this is what morals are really about. This is what values are really about. This is what vision is really about. There is absolutely no point in spending a few weeks creating a vision, creating values, creating morals if you're not going to be disciplined on it. If you want more sex, money, and power, my man, we can't do this without discipline. And so a tyrant will look at discipline and go back to his childish time and see this as, oh, well, this is my parents trying to discipline me. But a king looks at discipline and knows that discipline is where focus comes from, is where flow comes from, is where strength comes from. See, a king has a powerful relationship with discipline. See, so many of us, we have a dream. Some of us may even know our purpose. We know what we want and how to go about getting it, but we lack the discipline and the consistency to achieve it. And this is why most of us will never achieve our dreams. This is why the graveyard is filled with unfulfilled dreams. I've worked with men that lack a moral compass. They know that they really shouldn't be taking drugs, drinking so much alcohol, watching porn, having affairs, cheating on their partners. They know they really shouldn't be doing this, but they lack the discipline to stop because something outside of them controls them. And this is not really the problem with willpower, guys, but it's a problem when it comes to discipline. See, Jeffrey is a man that has a lot of problem with discipline. See, if you are someone that suffers with anxiety or stress, if you're someone that often goes into overwhelm or even procrastinate, if you're someone that overthinks or overanalyze, I can assure you this is caused by a misdirection of discipline. And I'm going to help you decode what this misdirection of discipline really means. So there is a simple formula when it comes to this, when it comes to discipline. It is a structure that you follow with 100% consistency. That's it. Discipline is basically a structure plus consistency. Structure plus consistency. And if you create a structure and you're consistent with it, there is 100% chance that you will get results, period. There's 100% chance that you will get results. End of story. So this sex, money, and power program that you're doing right now, all men will get the answers that they've been searching for. All men that are doing this program will have the structure so that they can get more sex, money, and power, but only a few men will have the discipline in getting this done. Only a few men will actually implement and be consistent with the work that we're presenting to you here. And this is the sad truth. A man without discipline, or misdirected discipline, I should say, becomes a tyrant. And a tyrant is not safe. He's not safe from the people around him, and he's not safe for the people around them. Discipline is what gives others and ourselves and our psychology a level of safety, because we know what we can expect. We know what we can achieve. We know who we are, we know why we exist, and we know what we're here to do. Now, I talk more about this, and I really help my clients break through this concept of discipline, the misdirection of discipline, in the Warrior program, in my Awakened Men program. But right now, let's understand discipline. What if I told you that nobody really has a lack of discipline, a lack of focus? Just let that land for a second. What if, just for a moment, that the problem is not a lack of discipline, but the problem is about what you're disciplined on? Let that land. Let that marinate. Soak that in. What if, and that's the truth, guys, nobody has a problem with discipline. What we do have a problem with is, what are we disciplined on? Most people all people are either disciplined on entertainment or their evolution. That's it. Most of us are disciplined around entertainment or evolution. So what I mean by entertainment, if you are disciplined around entertainment, then most of your behaviors, most of your disciplines are around watching countless hours of TV, spending time at the bar, watching sport games and car shows. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if this is coming in the way of evolution, then there's a problem. See, if you're so disciplined around entertainment, You're valuing booze, drugs, porn more than our responsibilities. And most of the guys that I work with, they say, hey, Nero, this is how I let off steam. This is how I let off stress. Well, I'm pretty sure you know already, but if you don't, I can send you countless amount of evidence and studies that show that booze, drugs, alcohol, and surface level connections actually add more stress to the body than it does relieving it. See, most people feel like they're entitled to have entertainment. And like I said, there is nothing wrong with watching TV, having a drink, going to sports games, going to car shows, spending time at the bar. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's getting in the way of your growth, your evolution, if you know that you are not living the fulfilled life, but you are spending so much time, money, energy on entertainment, and guess what? Entertainment is not going to solve your problems, then you are going to fall into that tyrant aspect. So coming down to this, a man that is disciplined around entertainment will become, if not already is, a tyrant. A man that is disciplined around evolution becomes a king. So what do I mean about evolution? Evolution is about your growth in all areas, my man. Your mindset growth, your financial growth, your power growth, your sexual desires growth. And when I speak to most men, almost all men think they're doing better than what they really are. And this is the male pride. They think their relationship is fine. They think their sex life is fine. They think their finances are fine. And because they think that they're doing better than what they really are, one day, boom, our wife walks out on us. Boom, one day our business fails. Boom, one day we get fired from the job that we've been spending most of our life contributing to. And guess what, guys? This did not happen over one day. It happened over a period of time. And because we were so focused on being that tyrant, so focused and disciplined around entertainment, we did not see what was really going on. No matter where you are, even if you're a king will know that most of his time, money, energy needs to be spent on evolution, evolving himself, evolving his body, evolving his mind, evolving his emotional capacity, evolving his resilience. All kings know that the moment that you think that you've done enough work on yourself, this is when we are royally screwed. Whereas a tyrant doesn't believe that we need to work on them. And brother, since you are watching this, I know there is a part of you that has already stepped into the king. You've made it into the third release, the third episode of this 4-part series. I know that evolution is important to you, that manhood is important to you. The purpose of manhood is so that we can support the evolution of humanity, evolution of our women, evolution of our children, evolution of our community, evolution of our country, evolution of humanity. This is the purpose of a man. This is the purpose of the king. And so the more that we are disciplined around our evolution, the overflow of our evolution will flow on to our children, our wives, our family, the whole freaking planet. If there's one thing that you take away from this episode, one thing that you take away from our time together is that, gentlemen, we need to continuously grow and evolve the king that we are. It doesn't mean that you don't make time for entertainment, but our discipline is focused around evolution, not becoming a tyrant. What are you focused on? Where is most of your time, money, energy going into? Are you spending more money, more time, more energy on entertainment? Or are you spending more time, money, energy on your growth? All you got to do is look at last month's bank statement or the last 12 months bank statement. Look at your calendar. Are you growing your mind, your emotions, your body? Or are you distracting yourself with booze and TV and drugs? Now, the truth is, when it comes to money, you can definitely have money by being a tyrant. You can definitely be one. And you can definitely have money becoming a tyrant, but it's not sustainable. It will leave you. As I mentioned when I was talking about the one and only rule, all I want for you guys is to live the life that you're after and have the ability to sustain it. There's no point having money for about a week or a month or a year if you can't sustain it. So what I would like you to think about money is think that money is a form of an energy or even like a person. Money will only go to areas that money feels safe with. And it is discipline that makes things like money, things like women, things like children, things like our own psychology feel safe. So money will go to places where it has structure, where there's a discipline around it. Think about it, guys. If you know anything about the economy, when the housing market is unstructured, when there's a lack of discipline, money will leave the housing market and probably go into shares. When shares is unstable, when there's no discipline around it, it will leave the market and go somewhere else. Money loves structure. Money loves discipline. And one of the things that I get my students to do in my program, my warrior program, is to get real with their money stories and our behaviors around money. Most people want money, but they also hate money at the same time. And it's like, dude, what are you asking for here? What's the energy you're putting out there when it comes to money? If you're saying that money is scarce, what kind of a relationship are you building here? Are you making money feel safe when it comes to you? See, most of us and most people that I've worked with think that we need to sacrifice things to get wealthy. And I promise you, this is 1000% not true. We just need to find a structure that works with us. Every man needs to know where his money is going and where his money is coming from. And as I said before, are you growing your money or are you using your money to go into some form of entertainment? Money loves structure. Money loves discipline. And as I said, in my warrior program, I help my students really learn about how to create structures around whatever your financial situation is, how to create structures around your money, how to implement a level of consistency, how to go beyond living paycheck to paycheck. Money loves structure. Money loves discipline. And remember, guys, there's only one rule, and this is a reminder, something that I shared with you before. There's only one rule when it comes to sex, money, and power. There's 3 laws, but there's one rule. Never, ever, ever chase sex, money, and power. Don't be that guy, because the person that is chasing sex, money, and power is a person that is desperate. A person that is putting out this needy energy out there. And what they'll end up doing is actually repelling sex, money, and power, right? No one wants to be around someone that is needy, desperate, and manipulative. And that's what happens when you chase sex, money, and power. Instead, be the man. Be the man that is chased by sex, money, and power. Be this guy. Be the man that is being chased by sex, money, and power. And if you're implementing these three laws of maturity, number one, and number two is discipline. And number three, I'm going to show you in a bit, but number two is discipline. If you're doing those two things, I promise you, energies will change. You're going to get sought after. Sex, money, power, opportunities, resources, wealth, health, abundance is going to come your way just by following these three principles, these three laws. But if you're really serious of implementing these three laws, gentlemen, I invite you to step into any of these three programs. The Warrior Program is something that I run once a year. And this is a deep dive. This is the platinum program for when it comes to transformation. There is nothing here in Australia or even overseas that does this level of intensity. Every single day, there is someone that has your back within the Warrior Program. Now, if you're not ready for the Warrior Program and you want to start off something light, then I invite you to come down. And if you live in Sydney, I invite you to come down to the Unconventional Brotherhood that we spend 2 hours each week working on evolving the manhood. And there's details somewhere down here on your emails with all of this. And finally, if you want something in between the warrior, not as aggressive and transformative as the warrior, but also not something a bit more than the Unconventional Brotherhood, I invite you to come to the Awakened Man. Right? This is a program that we really step into everything that we've covered here. Really stepped into becoming that man, to awaken the manhood that lies within us. These are the three options. And I invite you to choose one of them. Step in. Let's start the work. The Awakened Man runs continuously. You can join at any time. The Brotherhood, you can join at any time. The Warrior Program. Now, that is something that you probably have to apply for now for the next release. Now, recap. The first law of maturity. Maturity is your ability to change, to adapt, to take responsibility. The second law is discipline, what we covered today. We are all disciplined, but are you disciplined towards entertainment or are you disciplined around evolution? There is no wrong answer. Just choose and accept the outcome of both your decisions. That's it. If you will say, hey, Nira, I just want to be disciplined around entertainment, that's okay. But just don't expect greatness to come your way, because it's only when you have these two things does greatness come in our way. Law number 3, sorry about that. That's the bottom one supposed to say law 3. Law number 3 is your greatness. And this is what we're going to be covering in our last series, the next episode of this 4-part series. The next video, we're going to be talking about stepping into our greatness. We're going to be talking about the knight and the dragon. I wish you all the very best in your journey, gentlemen. Step into the next one. Watch it tomorrow. Watch it straight after this. But either way, let's get down to law number 3 and let's start implementing the first 2 laws. With love and respect, this is Nero from the Unconventional Brotherhood, Warrior, and the Awakened Men. Bye for now.